Homeless dogs can be found in nearly every corner of the world, and their stories are as diverse as the places they roam. Among these stray canines, there are those that exude sweetness and charm, often winning the hearts of the people they encounter, while others prove to be more troublesome. However, what happened in this particular tale involving a dog named Buddy is nothing short of extraordinary, and it's a story that's sure to tug at your heartstrings. Prepare your tissues, as I promise you'll need them. Buddy, the homeless dog, had been seen in a suburban neighborhood for about 6 months before an unexpected event changed the course of her life. Nobody knew anything about her previous owners or the circumstances that led to her abandonment. Whether she was born on the streets or left there by someone, the mystery of Buddy's past remained unsolved. During the initial weeks after her appearance, Buddy wore a mask of sadness, with locals describing her eyes as the saddest they had ever seen. It was almost as if she were waiting for someone in front of a local clinic, a behavior that sparked various speculations. Some believed her owner might have passed away at the clinic, while others thought she had been left there deliberately. As time passed, the community shifted its focus from Buddy's origins to the urgent task of finding her a loving home. Sadly, Buddy had other plans and seemed to prefer life on the streets, resisting all attempts at adoption. Weeks turned into months, and Buddy transformed from a melancholic dog into a joyous and affectionate canine. She played with the neighborhood children and wagged her tail in gratitude whenever someone offered her food. Life on the streets was tough for Buddy, and she occasionally fell ill, but the locals were always there to lend a helping hand. If only she had allowed them to take her in, she wouldn't have had to endure such hardships. Many in the community came to realize this later, but Buddy had her reasons for choosing the street as her home, which I'm about to reveal. It was a day after a particularly unsettling incident that Buddy decided she had had enough of street life. On that fateful morning, Buddy strolled through the familiar neighborhood, her tail wagging and tongue playfully hanging out as she excitedly barked at passing children. She paused to enjoy some affectionate pets from adults returning from their morning exercise routine. "Such a cute little thing," remarked Mrs. Rosa, a middle-aged woman, as she lovingly scratched Buddy behind her ears. Mrs. Rosa sighed and said, "How many times have I invited you home with me, but you never stay?" In response, Buddy barked and wagged her tail vigorously, bringing a smile to Mrs. Rosa's face. She patted Buddy one last time and continued on her way. By afternoon, Buddy grew hungry, knowing that most of her usual benefactors were not home at this time. She resolved to search for her own food, a skill she had honed by scavenging through piles of waste for sustenance. Often, she found treasures in the sanitation bins and occasionally encountered other strays, some of whom she got along with, while others she had to fend off. Little did Buddy know that this particular afternoon would bring an unexpected discovery that would shock the entire community. Approaching the sanitation bin, Buddy set about her usual scavenging routine, hoping to find something of value that could serve as a meal. As she pushed aside a stack of discarded clothes, her reaction was immediate, a flinch of surprise. There, nestled within the fabric, lay a tiny baby, swaddled in cloth. The baby was so small that Buddy questioned whether it was like the usual babies she saw people cradle and protect with care. Buddy displayed remarkable intelligence, recognizing the baby's dire need for help. She understood that the only way to assist the infant was to seek the aid of a human. Opening her mouth as wide as she could, Buddy gently picked up the baby and made her way to the nearest house where she knew a kind-hearted person lived. With great care, she placed the baby on the stairs leading to the front door and began to bark urgently. Buddy's hope was that someone would be home. After nearly 10 minutes of persistent barking, the front door swung open and Mrs. Rosa rushed down the stairs to investigate the commotion. She nearly stumbled over the baby but managed to catch herself just in time. Mrs. Rosa was stunned when she discovered the baby barely breathing and estimated that the infant couldn't have been more than a few hours old. Acting swiftly, Mrs. Rosa immediately summoned an ambulance and the police. Throughout her frantic efforts, Buddy remained faithfully beside the baby until the paramedics arrived and took the child away. By the end of the day, the baby was confirmed to be in good health, and Buddy was hailed as a hero, even making headlines on the evening news. Numerous neighbors testified to Buddy's extraordinary qualities as a dog, yet for some mysterious reason, she had consistently declined offers of adoption from anyone. Emily and Garrett, a young and loving couple residing not far from Buddy's neighborhood, learned about Buddy's heroic rescue on television. Emily was deeply moved by the baby's mother's heartless actions, especially because she and Garrett had been struggling to conceive a child. "She could have taken the baby to an orphanage for God's sake," Emily exclaimed in frustration. Garrett, holding her close, reassured her and suggested they go downtown to meet the heroic dog. Emily eagerly embraced the idea and began preparing for the trip, packing roast beef, a frisbee, water, toys, fruits, snacks, and a blanket, everything she knew dogs enjoyed. While loading the car trunk with the supplies, Garrett playfully remarked, "Are you sure you don't want to adopt the dog?" Emily chuckled and replied, "Haha, very funny. You heard how she refused to go home with anybody. What makes you think we'd be any different?" Locating Buddy was a breeze when they arrived in her neighborhood. She was a stunning brown pit bull with unforgettable eyes and a gentle disposition. As they approached, Buddy wagged her tail and gazed at the couple. Emily was the first to reach out and pet her, affectionately calling her sweetie. Buddy leaned in, savoring every moment of Emily's touch. When they returned to the car to retrieve items they had brought for Buddy, she followed them, and when Garrett opened the passenger door to get a bottle of water, Buddy hopped in and settled at the foot of the seat. Garrett and Emily exchanged puzzled glances, wondering what had prompted Buddy's unexpected behavior. Was she injured? Fatigued? Did she require something from them? Emily tried to entice Buddy out of the car by offering roast beef, but Buddy remained unmoved. Next, Garrett tempted her with treats, but Buddy simply turned her head away, nestling further into the safety and comfort of the passenger seat. This went on for over 2 hours, with the sun beating down. After drinking some water, Emily surmised that Buddy might be thirsty as well and offered her some from a bowl she had brought. To her surprise, Buddy dipped her head into the bowl and drank heartily. She then climbed onto the seat and fixed an endearing puppy look on Garrett, accompanied by gentle whimpering sounds, as if imploring for their love and attention. At that moment, Garrett draped a cool, damp blanket over Buddy's warm body, providing her with comforting relief. In gratitude, Buddy barked appreciatively. Over the next 30 minutes, they continued their efforts to coax Buddy out of the car, but she remained firmly in place. As Garrett persisted in his attempts, Emily gently tapped him on the shoulder. When he looked up, he saw that Emily was in tears. "Don't you see it?" Emily said softly. "She doesn't want to go. She chose us. She wants us, Garrett." Without a shred of doubt, Garrett realized Emily was absolutely right. The couple sat down beside Buddy, holding her in a moment that seemed to stretch on forever. "It's time to take you home," Garrett whispered to Buddy as he made his way to the driver's seat. When they arrived home, the couple opened their front door and Buddy gracefully stepped out of the passenger seat, crossing the threshold as if she had always belonged there. Over the next few days, the couple fell deeply in love with Buddy's affectionate nature. She relished cuddling, joined them on long walks, and even took to swimming in the pool. Buddy became a constant source of companionship and joy for the couple, and their love for her grew with each passing day. She was the best companion they could have ever hoped for. Word soon spread that Buddy had finally found a loving home, bringing happiness to those who had followed her remarkable journey. Many believed that a higher purpose had kept her behind to rescue the abandoned baby, and now, having fulfilled her mission, she was free to experience the genuine love of her new family.